I got a lot of extra paper here, but I'm just going to fold it up. These are all real gifts that I'm going to be giving my children this year. Picked them for various reasons. This is all wrapping paper that came out of my closet from last year, so I haven't actually had to buy any wrapping paper for this. I think we're going to start off with the New York Giants Super Bowl champion Monopoly set because it's the easiest one. I was thinking about waiting to get to 2009 New York Giants Monopoly set, but that wouldn't have Plaxico Burress in it. The big advantage for me here is that I'm not doing this at 11:30 p.m. on December 24th on my hands and knees in the basement. I picked a present that's in a square box because that's a lot of what people will be wrapping this year, especially when you get to older people's presents like shirts, jackets and stuff like that. The corners are tough for me, as you can see, and this is not exactly great, but actually for my style of wrapping, this came out pretty good. So I picked the box as a you know, kind of everybody's going to wrap one of these in some size this year. So and I kind of like the way this came out. So this is good to go. And again, these are real gifts, so if you know my kids, shh. Now let's try the tougher stuff. No, now you see this paper's not going to be big enough for anything. But between these two big rolls, we should be fine. And my style of measuring the present would be just to lay it in the middle of the paper and then bring the paper around it to make sure that it's got enough paper out. I'm not really concerned with using too much paper, as you can probably tell already. If you're one of these people that can do that thing with the scissor where it just cuts right down the middle there, I salute you. I've never been able to figure out how to do that. My little son is a big Spider-Man fan. See, I just can't get it to do that smooth sliding cut. So with something like Spider-Man in this kind of half box where you get with your Barbies and stuff, I generally just lay it down here and wrap the flat back first. Anything that's not in a box, I run into trouble with. So we'll go down here. We got a lot of extra paper here, but I'm just going to fold it up. It's going to be a little bumpy. And misshapen, but the color will be nice, and it's for the 2-year-old, so he is not really going to spend a lot of time worrying about what it looks like wrapped. It does stand up, just barely. Gotta kind of squash that bulge down, but we can lean it up against the tree too. So that's present number 2. Now this is the big kahuna. This one I actually went out and got because I thought it would be hard to wrap, and I wanted to see if I could wrap it for this story, but it's going to be a winner because it's awesome. What 2-year-old wouldn't want a huge foam rubber dragon? And I think what I'm going to do is just basically lay it down, put paper on it, and hope for the best. Starting to get the hang of this. No, well, okay. Well, my wrapping style, it's all about getting that first piece of tape down. And once you got that first piece of tape down, right there, oh, okay. Just throw one more piece of tape on here. My typical style for an oddly shaped present is crunch it up and hope for the best. Just make sure that everything's covered. And that means use a lot of tape. Tape like a madman. Bring it up. And you see a bit of the dragon ripped through. So just make it right through there, you see? So I'm just gonna take care of that. And what you got here is an interesting looking present that's gonna be opened up pretty quick because they're gonna be trying to figure out what's inside it. And let's get one more thing down here. And I think he said, lifting very carefully, we're gonna call this done. Right here. And there are my wrapped Christmas presents. All right, now we're here at Westroads with Rick Childrey, the East Regional Director for Special Olympics Nebraska, who runs the wrapping stand here at Westroads. We're going to ask him to critique my wrapping job and see if he can't do a little better. Rick has been volunteering for the Special Olympics and wrapping presents for 15 years, and he's way too nice about my wrapping technique.
The Monopoly game looks good. The dragon I'll have to take out and see if I can do better. It's a little loose, and you can tell where the sharp part of the dragon broke through the paper. And this could probably be a little bit tighter on the wrap, but overall it's not a bad, not a bad job.
We got the critique. Now, can Rick do better?
It may not be the prettiest job, but when it leaves here, it'll be covered with Christmas paper.
Starting with the Giants Monopoly game, the pro style already is different from mine.
I'm measuring the gift. Two things. First, we don't want to waste paper by just kind of eyeballing it and pulling it out and having it be too short. And also, we don't want to waste paper by having too much paper. So this way, we can get close to what we really need.
Rick breezes through the first challenge, making the corners look nice and tight, which is interesting because the Giants haven't looked this neat the last 2 weeks. He even puts a finishing touch on his wrap. I didn't have bows, no, not a bow guy. Next up, Spider-Man.
It's open in the front, so there's nothing really to put the paper to. Or
measuring the gift first, again, Rick is able to cut through the difficulty of wrapping the web slinger. That's what I was talking about. Where you run the scissor right along the wrapping paper and it doesn't rip at all.
The key to that is a good pair of scissors.
And with that, gift number 2.
That's a little bit tighter than John's.
2 for 2, we turn to the two-headed monster.
Why would anybody buy this kit for a kid?
Our gift wrapping dragon slayer decides to go inside the box for a solution to our two-headed dilemma. Even using tissue paper for an extra layer of mystery.
One thing you got to be careful about when you're doing corners, if you've got a box that's got a real pointed corner, it'll tend to poke through the paper sometimes. If you're not going to put a book in a box, we usually wrap it with tissue paper to make sure that doesn't happen. There's nothing more frustrating to get to this point and notice you got a hole in your paper. There's your dragon.
With the challenge complete, Rick offers his keys to success.
Good paper, quality paper that's not going to rip when you're trying to work with it. I'd say a good pair of scissors and a tape measure.
That's all good advice, but come December 24th, I'll probably be down in the basement, on my hands and knees, wrapping all the rest of the presents the John Keenan way. This is going to my 3-year-old, and he ain't gonna care. For the Omaha World Herald, this is John Keenan.